Hey y'all, it's Anime Cameron, and today I'm going to be reading CHOYOYU High School Prodigies Have It Easy Even in Another World, Episode 1. And I gotta say, I actually enjoyed what I got from this isekai because, for one, its premise is about these 7 high school prodigies in Japan. They were in an airplane trip, and then all of a sudden it crashes, and then they get transported into this other world where there's like these people with like these ears and tails and all that. So all in all, it's relatively interesting because I like how in this isekai, instantly you have one of the main characters wake up. He's shocked at the premise of being in another world, which is a nice little detail because sometimes in isekai animes, on occasions you don't get characters shocked that they're in an isekai world. It just skips that all those little details. So I do love that specifically. And what I also like about this specific isekai anime is when it comes to presenting things like the character names and what they did in the regular world and all that. It has a fucking narrator saying that instead of having a character needlessly inner monologuing it in their minds. And I was like, thank goodness that this anime had the decency of having a narrator, because I've seen so many freaking isekai. No, not just isekai, even slice of life anime, where they fuck that up so easily to the point where I'm like, oh god, they really don't respect the audience. Here, at least off of the first episode, it feels like they're respecting the audience. So that's a positive too, for the most part, I gotta say. When it has those kind of details, where it mentions their names, and already it makes for a nice, interesting premise, because it makes you wonder how these high schoolers are mature beyond their years going to survive here. And as the episode progresses, it was nice to get to see like the village around where they live at, and like get to see the little kids and all of that. And I like how it introduces the conflict when like these soldiers from the kingdom show up, and then they scared off by Tsukasa and 2 of the prodigies that are fighters also. And then simultaneously they get scared off by the magician prodigy near the end of the episode, and the conflict for the most part is resolved. And all in all, I like that. When it's like that in this episode, when you see the prodigies working as a team. So for the most part, I thought the story bits were done pretty decently, with, I'd say, the only weakness being that while you have Tsukasa shocked that I realizes he's in another world, I would have loved to have seen sequences where he explains it to the 6 others, because instantly you go from Tsukasa shocked and realizing that he's in another world in one sequence, towards at the next sequence, everyone's all peachy fine and all that kind of jazz. I would have loved to have like seen maybe like the psychological reactions of the other 6 people waking up, because it would have made. And here's the reason why I would have preferred that, because throughout this episode, the only character that I could say is legitimately good is Tsukasa, because the other 6 prodigies so far, they're just fucking there. They really are just there. And while you could argue they do stuff, that's just it. They do stuff. They're just plot devices right now. They're not characters with defining personalities and all that. And this is really the first episode, and I feel like this episode would have been better served if it would have had a sequence where Tsukasa tells the other 6 that they're in an isekai world. So that way we could have seen like psychological elements in this episode and all that kind of jazz. Because while yes, the episode kind of ends off with them pretty much deciding to help out the village, to help them out, find information, and find a way to go back into their normal world and all that kind of jazz, while it presents that information cleanly, really during all this, you only really care for 1 out of the 7 prodigy characters, and that's it. You don't care about the other 6, and I feel that's a weakness, that this episode, it rushed things a bit too much. I think it should have been paced a bit slower here. But aside from that, though, I enjoyed what I got, despite the weaknesses. Now, from the character standpoint, Tsukasa and Luriel are fucking great. Tsukasa is nice because in just a few sequences, when he instantly wakes up, you get characterization that he cares about other people more than himself, because he notices the chick has ears. But he instant mentions on the health of his people that were alongside him. So I do love that. And in addition to that, when one of the people in the Elm Village was threatened. He literally beat the guy that was threatening the person that helped him out, Tsukasa, like a boss. That again shows you this dude has balls of steel. So you get characterization that he's a brave, he's mature, he's competent. He can tell he's mature too socially because when he gets kissed by Liril when she gives him food, he doesn't blush or anything. He accepts the food from the mouth, and that was a pretty cool sequence there too. So already this character, this isekai protagonist, is way better than your normal isekai protagonist. And then Liril is pretty nice too, because even though we only saw her for small bits, it was nice to see her care for the people that came out of like the plane crash. Now, in saying that though, there are weaknesses, which is the other 6 people that were isekai alongside Tsukasa. Because you really only get a singular trait for the 6 other characters. And don't get me wrong, normally I'm a fan of big cast of characters, but 7 looks way too fucking excessive. I've seen isekai animes where it could only have like 4 or 3 characters, and even some isekais struggle to juggle in 3 characters in a span of 26 episodes. So somehow this anime is gonna attempt to juggle 7 personalities on top of possibly 1 core of animation. It feels like there's a bit too much ambition here that might fall flat. And that's the only worrying thing about the character standpoint. Because for the other stuff, it's like you only get to maybe have some small traits about the other characters, and that's it. And that's why I felt it rushed some things, because I would have loved to have seen some more character moments with the other 6 characters, you know? Because for now, I can only really root for 2 characters at best, which is Liril and Tsukasa, and that's it. Everyone else, don't care. Hopefully that improves in the future episodes. Now, for other strengths and weaknesses, I think for the most part the art is nice, actually. But the weakness is the animation, though, and let me explain why. There was a sequence where this sword chick and this other chick knock out these dudes, and it's like a faraway shot, and the only bit of animation was when the Tsukasa was fighting this soldier in close quarters combat, and that looked freaking good. So I'm going to give it credit for that. But for the most part, it was kind of stiff. And let me tell you why. Because for one, there was a sequence where this chick was literally running through 2 soldiers, and she killed these 2 soldiers. But these were 2 military men with fucking semi-automatic machine guns. And she was running towards it, blocking slices. So already I'm like, oh, come on, animators. If you're going to do that kind of shit, at least have the girl use like smoke screens or smoke bombs, and then have him slice those soldiers out at the start, because I can only take so much suspension of disbelief stuff. So the animation at times, the animators, sometimes they animated something to make it look cool, but it makes the script and the direction kind of shittier. So there were moments where there wasn't enough animation, and there were moments like in the sequence where the chick was running towards these 2 soldiers, it was a bit too over animated, where it was put there for the sake of coolness, but it detracted from the cool factor being a bit too cool. So that's why the animation was a mixed bag for me. But it wasn't bad, it just got the job done, but it could have been better in some bits. And the voice performances I thought were great. And that's why, at a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being abysmal, 10 being exceptional, 5 being average, I thought this was a 5.5 out of 10. Because it did just enough for me to be intrigued going into the next episode. But after watching this episode, though, it didn't have enough things for me to be worried about going into episode 2. That's why I rated it a 5.5, you know? Because there is some warning signs that this could go south really quick. And I should know, I've seen my fair share of isekai animes in the past. And 9 times out of 10, most of them do fuck up. Hopefully hopefully this one ends up being the 1 out of the 10 that do not fuck up. So anyways, y'all, these are my thoughts on the episode. Be sure to comment your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Rate the video, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys later if you come back for more. Alright, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Have a great and safe day. Bye-bye.